Hello, and a warm welcome to our Perspectives webcast today. Thank you so much for your interest in our flagship rotational program. In today's webcast, we will highlight the key aspects of the program and provide you an overview on the recruitment process. But most importantly, it's a unique opportunity for you to hear from both current participants and alumni about their experience within the program. You will also have the chance to raise questions during the webcast, which we'll address in the second half of the session. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleagues who are with me on today's webcast. Shreya, please start by introducing yourself, sharing your current role, and how you're connected to the program.
My name is Shreya, and I'm one of the procurement perspectives, and I started in 2020.
Rodrigo, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Rodrigo. I am alumni of the Finance Perspectives program, recently graduated the program and started my new role in the Enterprise Analytics and Planning team.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Aruna.
Hi, everyone. I'm an alumni for the Business Perspectives program, currently a product manager in thoracic oncology in our Belgium affiliate.
Thank you. Sarah,
yes,
next.
Hi. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Very warm welcome from my side. My name is Sarah. I'm the program manager for the Business Perspectives program, only for the last 3 months, but with Roche for quite some time.
Thanks a lot, everyone. So last but not least, my name is Tanita. I'm the Finance Perspectives program manager while also holding a role within finance in a group planning team. So for sure, you have already gathered quite some information about the program from our websites or other channels, but let me highlight the key aspects once more. So Perspectives is a 2-year rotational program, and it's really designed to launch your career at Roche. It offers 3 distinct paths, which you see here: business, finance, and procurement. And we really encourage you to choose the track that aligns most with your passion and your long-term career vision. While the nature of the programs might differ, there's a lot the programs have in common. We are really seeking for outstanding talents with the ambition to develop a career within Roche in the long term. All 3 tracks also provide you a truly global experience, which requires the participants to step outside of their comfort zone and be geographically mobile during the program, but also beyond the program. As a participant, you will have the opportunity to personalize your program journey. This means it requires a lot of proactiveness and is really crucial. And you're expected to take ownership of your rotations and the journey ahead. However, of course, you will not be alone on that journey. You will be surrounded by a really large support network and system, and you will have numerous opportunities to expand your personal and professional network. So if all of that still resonates, you may consider applying to one of our programs. So let me give you a quick overview on the recruitment process. As you might have seen, the application window has already opened this week, Monday, and it will close in 1 month's time from now, so on March 3rd. The initial application through our career website entails a small business case and the submission of your CV. After this, there are 3 main steps in the recruitment process to follow. Next to come will be a video interview, followed by a personal panel interview, and it will conclude with a full-day assessment center in May. All of these steps are virtual steps, so it will not require that you travel anywhere. If you're successful, your program journey would start with the 1st of September this year and an induction week. So in a moment, our current participants and alumni will share with you their personal experience to give you really a better sense on how they have been throughout the program. But before we listen to their stories, I would like to inform you on how you can submit your questions, which we will pick up a little bit later in this call. So you can either do it by scanning the QR code which is presented, or you go to the webpage menti.com. And there you enter the code 23911869. And please start already to submit your questions now or during the experience sharing. Now, let's get to the most interesting part of this webcast and listen to the stories of our participants. So I would like to first hand it over to you, Shreya. You have recently started your journey with Roche on the procurement track. How has your journey been so far?
Hey, Anita. Hi, everyone. As I introduced myself before, I am Shreya, and I'm one of the procurement perspectives for 2024. And I'm really excited, first of all, to share my experience with you all, and also to answer any of the questions that you might have about my journey so far, right from the application process. To give you a bit of background about myself, I hold a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and thereafter I worked as a risk engineer in an insurance industry for 4 years, focusing on manufacturing and chemical industries, including that of pharma companies. And due to my passion in sustainability, I decided to pursue my higher education in environmental engineering. I did a double master's degree in Germany, which combined environmental engineering and MBA. And during my studies, I decided to synergize these two fields by working as a sustainability analyst in a procurement team. And here I played a key role in setting sustainability goals for the organization and also assessing the carbon footprint of the materials that we were sourcing from suppliers. So, and I could see the real-time impact it had on the organization, and I knew this is the career path I wanted to have for myself, which was in procurement, particularly focusing on sustainability, and which is why I applied for perspectives focusing on procurement last year. And what really motivated me to join Roche was also the fact that Roche's passion to make healthcare accessible to all the patients across the world, and at the same time, really including sustainability in their strategies. And these were the values that really aligned with my values at the time. And here I am doing my first rotation in the program. And to give a bit of background about my rotation, currently I am in the R&D team for the delivery chapter of procurement. And I am managing the portfolio of diagnostics, lab equipment, and maintenance services, which is around 40 million francs spent. And I lead the sourcing activities for this portfolio. And at the same time, I'm also supporting my senior procurement delivery managers in negotiating with the key suppliers that we have. And parallelly, I'm holding dialogues with my internal stakeholders where I give them insights about the suppliers to help with their savings initiative. And for my next rotation, I will be moving to Canada in a direct operation team. It will be in pharma this time, and I will be supporting the buying and planning team here. So this is going to be my journey, my next journey, and I hand it over to Tanita.
Thank you, Shreya, for sharing. Really nice to see how you started off. So I would like to hand it over to Rodrigo. You are a fresh alumni of the finance program, so we are super curious to hear about your highlights of the journey.
Sure. Hi, everyone, again. As I introduced myself before, my name is Rodrigo Viana. I am a recent alumni of the Finance Perspectives program. I finished the program last December and started my permanent role just 2 months ago. So maybe a little bit about myself. I am originally from Brazil, and as someone who always loved physics, chemistry, and math, I graduated in chemical engineering, spent a few years doing research, kind of from experiments in the lab, publishing papers, and attending conferences. But that was, to be honest, just to realize, although I like the science, my passion really lies into the business side. So that's why I started working as a management consultant for a few years, and then I made a move to finance as a financial planning and analysis role for an investment platform company, and also then decided to pursue my studies and do my MBA with a focus in finance as well. And it was during my MBA in Bocconi in Italy around 2 to 3 years ago that I found out about the Finance Perspectives program. And honestly, it was an instant connection. I really found a place where I could connect my passion for science and my passion for finance in one place, and all of that together to really drive healthcare innovation and make impact to society, right? So So I joined the company in September 22, and right in the place where I could see finance and science coming together. So I joined the Research and Development Finance Network, which is basically the finance team that supports the early research and development team, so where the scientists make drug discovery and clinical studies. So I was responsible for developing business cases for 2 molecules entering the clinical studies, but also worked on productivity analysis and really reshaping how we do valuation of our assets in early stage. So that rotation in Basel really showed me what it takes to innovate and how much we value science here in Roche and what it takes to create new medicines, right? So then I moved along the value chain, and I went to the commercial affiliate. I moved to London, and I was working in a pharma commercial affiliate, really working on sales forecasts for our mature portfolio. But also I joined 2 squads to bring my data analytics skills into place and support the medical and marketing functions to run customer segmentations for the NHS in the UK, but also to do kind of our marketing adoption funnel, basically how we can use data and analytics to develop and deliver kind of more tailored and personalized marketing content for physicians. So that rotation in the affiliate really taught me how we play a role in the broader healthcare ecosystem and what it takes to bring patients that took so hard to be developed, but also bring them to patients, which is really what we're here for. Then I closed my year in pharma division and then moved to the diagnostics division. I started from the commercial affiliate as well, and then I moved from London to Brussels, where I was working in the DIA affiliate there. And basically, I was leading the implementation of a new pricing strategy to really ensure we can remain competitive and delivering value to the healthcare system from the diagnostics perspective. I also contributed to customer negotiations by developing business cases for some of our customers and budget cycles and performance improvement initiatives from a finance point of view as well. So that really taught me a lot about the competitive landscape in the diagnostics sector and how we combine this with our pharma footprint as well. Then I closed my program back in Switzerland, but now based in Hochkreuz, and I was supporting our digital health business with what we call the Roche Information Solutions, which is basically how we deploy and deliver softwares and algorithms for both diagnostic solution, but also for healthcare systems like for physicians and so on. So my role as a finance partner there was really to, again, assess business cases for digital solutions, but also to create a 10-year business plan for that unit. So that kind of closed the loop in the diagnostics, gave me the end-to-end view of the division and connected dots from the two angles. And that kind of ultimately leads me to offboarding the program. I started my new role in December 24 in the enterprise analytics and planning space, where I work at a group level with providing analytics and also participating in planning events. So really a place where I can combine all the skills I gain in the program to continue contributing to the company. So that's a little bit about my journey, and I'll hand it over back to you, Tanita.
Thank you, Rodrigo. So Aruna, you have been part of the Business Perspective program and you offboarded a few years ago. So how has your journey been during and especially also after the program?
Thank you, Tanita. A little bit of background about myself. So I am born in Malaysia, but also half Nepali. But most of my life, I grew up in low middle income countries. And to be frankly honest, in my youth, my passion was really focusing on social impact and international development, which is where I started building my career. I worked in East Africa in public health initiatives, and there I really discovered the value of shared public-private sector partnerships. And it was through that angle and through that passion that I started building on the real role shared value can bring in terms of social impact, was where I discovered Roche from the outside together with other pharmaceutical industries. And my curiosity really led me to explore how we can really maximize what these partnerships can look like in emerging markets. And along the way, I discovered the Business Perspective program, and I really took a leap of faith to apply for this program because it's so outside of my presumed sector journey. And really at the core of it, looked at the program's opportunity to help me to see if I can really build an opportunity to test what shared value partnerships can look like when working from the private sector. And so when you're given the opportunity to work for 2 years, you have the whole organization and you have the whole network at Roche, both diagnostics and pharma at your feet. You are, driving the steering wheel to design your 2 years. I found it the perfect opportunity to sort of explore this topic, but from Roche. So I was super excited to start the program. It was during the heart of COVID, so we had that extra challenge in how to design and build our programs accordingly. But the beautiful thing about this program is that you do get connected with great leaders in the organization and mentors who can also provide that guidance and also connections with the network. So I joined the public affairs team in the Roche Pharma affiliate in Malaysia during the heart of COVID, moving from Uganda and Tanzania. And there I really got to understand the policy and the policy opportunities that Roche can shape in a market like Malaysia, focusing on value-based healthcare in terms of proof of concept and pilot initiatives. And so there I got to really see the perspective of the same topic that I worked on in the nonprofit sector, but from the other side, which was really a helpful learning opportunity for myself. My heart and passion was in infectious disease control. And so along the way, as I continue to learn and branch my network within the Roche internally in pharma and dia, I had the opportunity to work with both pharma and diagnostics together. I connected with leaders who were initiating the Women's Health Initiative, together with leaders from diagnostics who are exploring how we drive uptake of HPV DNA testing in Africa, and basically brought them together and said, can I work with both of you and build a learning opportunity where I take the best of both worlds when it comes to what we need with women's health, which is integrated solutions, and for 8 months, really see how I can drive HPV DNA testing with the Africa Regional Network via the Diagnostics Network, while working with the pharma team to really look at how we can build our women's health strategy for overall Roche in both the diagnostics and pharma division. It was there where I really, let's say, felt my passion and my experience and my vision for where I could be at Roche come alive. But then there's that extra element of the point of going outside of your comfort zone that was also at the back of my mind, where I felt it's very important that I take this opportunity with the 2 years that the Business Perspective provides to really branch my experience as much as possible. And so there, together with my mentors, explored looking at going into a commercial role, and so joined the pharma affiliate in Belgium to really take a product manager role, providing launch readiness for our therapeutics in thyroid cancer, and also looking at maximizing the opportunities we have with our innovative solutions in liver cancer. And also fell in love with this work experience and with this topic, and so continued to build on my curiosity and offboarded in Belgium, now focusing on lung cancer, but maintaining this product manager role with the mind that I continue to follow my curiosity and passion as I gain new exposure and new experience, while also maintaining my passions with public healthcare via work packages and via the network, which you remain completely embedded and connected to even after the program. So today I find myself at the core working with the Belgium affiliate in pharma, but with the networked way of working we currently have, always in touch with the broader network, always in touch with your past rotation assignments, and seeing that impact come alive even after the program. So yeah, a quick summary, and also a surprise to myself on where I started and where I ended in the journey, which is the core beauty of this program. So maybe over to you, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Aruna, and I hope that already gave you a lot of insights. Thank you so much for already submitting a lot of your questions. Maybe we can bring up exactly that slide again. So in case you did miss the QR code or the Menti code, you can go again to Menti and continue asking your questions. I already tried to pre-select a little bit and to group them, because also I see that many of you have quite similar questions, some of them more related to the program and the structure in general, but also we have some questions to our current perspectives and alumni. So I will address those here in the group now. Now let me quickly bring up the first question. So maybe immediately something for our perspectives who are here with us. What actions did you take to inform yourself and tailor your rotations? And I mean, in general, there was a question around how does it work? Can you freely choose? How do you make the conscious decision of where to go and so on? So maybe, I don't know, Aruna, if you want to answer that first, and maybe hearing also then from the other two, how you approached your rotations and finding your path.
I think the phrase I keep remembering at the time is you are at the driver's wheel. So together with your mentor, you're obviously with you, Sarah, you are really designing the opportunities for yourself. There was no set rubric. Perhaps there's leveraging experiences from the alumni network that does help, and leveraging that network to look at opportunities or possibilities. But it is really up to you, and it should align with your purpose and your vision on how you want to make an impact to society with Roche, but also with the learning opportunity this program provides. So really ensuring that stepping out of your comfort zone is at the core of how you are designing the program as well.
Thank you so much. How was it for you, Rodrigo?
Yeah, I think it resonates a lot with Aruna's experience. If I were to put in a few pillars, it's truly about where I want to go in the long term. So what type of skills I want to get, what type of experience I want to have, and then I leverage, of course, on the program manager, on the official mentor I had since the beginning, on the current participants, so the cohorts that joined with me, the previous one, and the alumni network. And honestly, the beauty of the program is that after you do one or two rotations, you end up finding new mentors and coaches along the way. So really leveraging on their experience, seeing their advice, but ultimately shaping towards things I wanted to do and I wanted to learn about. So yeah, I think the program gives a lot of support and a lot of tools you can use. Is really up to the participant to use them in the best favor. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. And Shreya, I mean, for you, this is a very recent topic, right? You're trying to explore or looking to explore your next rotations and so on. How is it for you?
Right, thank you, Zara. And I truly resonate with both Aruna and Rodrigo. And to add to that, I did speak with a lot of alumni. I was on the other side just 6 months before, so I know what they mean when they ask, how did you plan this? Even though if you have a plan, after a few months, it changes because you come across other projects, different projects, you meet different people, and they connect you to different people. So there's a lot of connection that you can leverage on. But at the end of the day, you have to be true to yourself. You have to know what's the reason why you started this program for. In my case, I knew sustainability is a very important aspect when I started the program. So I'm designing it, keeping that as a main thread for my program. However, yeah, you really change it as you go forward, and definitely I have picked the alumni's brain. For example, I spoke to Rodrigo for us together to also know how they plan their journeys, so they will have plenty of support once they're on the program.
I'm so glad to hear. That's actually a question for later. I will come back about the community that you have. But maybe let's first address a couple of the more, how can I say, administrative questions or structure questions of the program. So we do have a question around how many programs can a candidate apply to at maximum, because we presented, we have 3 tracks, right? And so the question is, how many can you apply to? And I will answer that. Also, Tanita, please jump in anytime, right? But we really encourage you to pick the one that's most aligned with your passion, with your future career path. Also, something that I want to mention is we do have some Perspectives alumni that did go the finance route, but then eventually also after the program went into business functions, for example. So it doesn't mean you lock yourself in, but we really want to encourage that you are choosing the one that you really feel the most passionate about and not apply to all 3 of them. So that's something to highlight here. Exactly. Then another question around the criteria as well is around the experience. So how experienced should people be? And there were multiple questions around, is it maybe more for fresh graduates? Do I have too much experience if I have more than 5 years and so on? And the guidance that we really give is between 3 to 5 years. So if you already have 10 years of experience, I have to say it is a little bit too much. And then we really encourage you to also look into the other roles that we have posted at Roche. But if you are somewhere in this range of 3 to 5 years, we did have some exceptions in the past. And I mean, of course, it also depends on internships, then temporary roles. Some of you maybe have done a postdoc or so, but really like try to be in the range of 3 to 5 years and not completely fresh graduate, but also not like 15 years of consulting experience. So that's very important as well. Exactly.
Maybe just
Go
to
ahead.
add one aspect from my point of view, especially when it comes to the ones of you who might think, oh, am I already senior enough, or are maybe 3 years just on the edge? So I think the question to ask yourself here is, do you feel ready for the challenge ahead? And what I mean by this is you will have very short amounts of time where you will rotate between the teams. So it's a 6-month rotation on average, where you need to insert yourself into a new team, into a new environment, potentially a new culture and new tasks. And there is a certain expectation. Yes, you will have some learning curve, but there is an expectation that you leave an impact as well. So I think the question to ask yourself is, it like, do you bring enough experience that you feel ready to like really very quickly adapt in this kind of environment? Or do you feel you need a little bit more time? And we are hiring once a year. So if you feel maybe now is not yet the right timing, then feel free to come back in a year's or two's time, just to add that connotation as well.
That's a very important point. Thank you. Okay, coming to the next question, again, a little bit related to criteria. So the question came up around, do I need to have an MBA? Or is it exclusive for MBA holders? And the answer is no. I mean, of course, it is an advantage because, it definitely helps to have a business understanding. For example, for business perspectives, if you just have a scientific background, we do have some from the past. However, it is always an advantage if you understand the business side better. However, it is not an absolute rule out criteria if you do not have an MBA, but highly recommended, of course. Let me see, what next question? Maybe I want to switch a little bit again and hand it to our perspectives. And there was a question around kind of the community and the support of each other and how that works and how that looks like. So I don't know if one of you wants to share a little bit more around how you experienced kind of the support with each other, the community of being a Perspectives, or even an alumni Perspectives. Yeah. I don't know, Aruna, if you want to answer or.
Sure. Different, let's just say every year's cohort has a very different experience in the sense that they're going through this journey together. But the beautiful thing is the alumni network that we have. Even today, once a month, we have immediate, just informal connections virtually. We're from all over the world. And we remain kind of connected and bonded around understanding how we at Roche are evolving as leaders and with the organization as well. And we are also sort of a base for current business perspective candidates to reach out to explore rotational opportunities, and also sort of understand what was the learning lessons that we reflect on today based on the decisions we made with our offboarding as well. So today I have informal coffee chats, from current alumni, current perspectives, as well as with the broader alumni network on these topics kind of on a regular basis. And it's a very, very casual and very free to reach out, to connect and stay up to date. So I really appreciate it, even way after the program.
You. And Rodrigo, the Finance Perspectives program is also around for quite a while. How was your experience?
Yeah, it's quite similar to Aruna's, and that's because we've been around for a while. We have many alumni spread across the world, or at least that have been in different countries. So it is very supportive in the same way as Aruna's mentioned. If I were just to add perhaps a complementary points of view, is that the community, it helps not only finding the next assignment or the next role, but it helps you addresses those kind of more personal questions like, what does it mean to move to country X or to country Y? What does it mean to, I don't know, on a personal level, on the relationships, moving with partners or not, or dating long distance and things like that, working in a place where you don't speak the local language, kind of these personal questions that having a strong community to support is really helpful. And on top of the alumni, I would also add the kind of, I call them friends of the program, for a lack of a better word, which is basically these kind of line managers throughout the whole company that hosted rotations in the past, or are very happy to host assignments. And they are people who are very happy to host you or to connect you with other people in your organization. So just to say, the community goes even beyond the alumni, and these kind of people who are kind of, the friends of the program are really helpful as well.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear. And I mean, I feel like you say the alumni community is really huge. They are distributed all over the organization, and they are always super helpful to support each other as well. So I think that's definitely a benefit of the program as well. Then let's come back to a few of the more, let's say, criteria or structure questions. One of them is around the contract as well. So is it a Swiss contract, in brackets salary, throughout the program? So yes, it is a Swiss contract that you're receiving and a Swiss salary. And also there was connected the question around the rotations and visa and so on. And yes, this is also supported by the program. So visa, housing, travel to your new rotation location and so on, that is absolutely also covered. Another question that I've seen was, can you do all rotations in one location? And while we did have in the past a few participants who maybe stayed for a full year in one country. At the moment, we do have people who stay in Singapore and do a pharma and then a dia rotation, for example. Still, we do encourage that the rotations also happen in different locations, in different regions even, just also for the exposure to different markets, having a different understanding of cultural awareness of our larger company and how it works in different regions. So it is highly encouraged to do them in different locations. Actually, even during COVID times, while it was quite tough, we still managed to, in a limited way, but still send people on assignments to different locations. Exactly. Let me see, what next questions do we have? Maybe something again for our perspectives here. How do you balance making an impact and learning as you come into a rotation for only, well, here it says 8 months. Most of the time it's actually only 6 months, and then needing to leave again. So how is that experience for you? I don't know who wants to take it up first.
I can give it a go.
Thanks, Aruna.
I think what's the best way to phrase it? Yeah, just to clarify, indeed, the program we had about 2 years, but how we designed the rotations, the number of rotations was also customizable, but on average was about 6 months. I took it from the perspective of it's not just about what you do, but how you show up. So it's about the leadership competencies you're bringing into understanding a completely new context, working together with colleagues who are far more experienced and experts than you are, and looking at ways you bring value very quickly in a very short amount of time. And how I asked whenever we did our end of rotation reviews with your line manager, with ourselves, and I would ask myself, what did we manage to produce? What impact did we make in this short period of time? But also, what impression have I left my colleagues and my team in that period of time as well? And what can I do better as a leader to improve the next rotation or iteration? We have to do the same thing. So those are two questions we would always reflect on, both with your rotational managers and with the colleagues that you work with and who teach you a heck of a ton in that short period of time.
Mm. Thank you. I don't know, Shreya, if you wanna add to that.
Yeah, just to add on what Aruna just said, in my case, I guess since procurement was also co-procurement was new to me, there's no doubt I would be learning quite a lot in the first 6 months. In terms of impact, I guess having regular feedback sessions with your buddy or with your land manager really helps, of course, so that you know where you stand. And it was, from the beginning, it was really clear that this is not a trainee program, but mostly a career accelerator program. It was communicated to us. So we would be bringing our transferable skill sets, of course, along with us, and it's not going to be completely from ground zero. So I guess there will be a lot of impact you will be making. In my case, especially, I was taking up a role of someone who was doing a full-time job, so I was backfilling a role. So in that way, I could see quite an impact that I could make in my own way, bringing my own skill sets from my previous job and the ones I had from my master's program.
Thank you so much.
And maybe I can also add a little bit from the program management perspective. So it's a learning journey, and I think the way you show up and the way you make an impact is also like progressing a lot from rotation to rotation. That's what I can see with the participants, that usually the first rotation is a bit of more like a learning curve anxiety, like figuring out where is your place in the company, in the team, and getting used to the whole network around you at Roche, especially if you join from externally. But then I see a very quick like pickup of everyone and like getting into the mood and getting onto the journey, and that helps you with every rotation to bring in the past experience, to work on yourself, on how you show up, but also the real hard skills that you take along the journey will support you in every step that comes afterwards.
Adding that view. Okay, maybe let me just move on to the next question, because we have a couple, and Rodrigo, you will get another chance again to answer a question. Just quickly here. So one of the questions, and maybe I'm actually also curious to hear from the perspectives, but I also can already jump in on that. There was a question around language, and are there any language-related constraints in the program? And I think for this one, it really depends on what type of rotation you want to do. For example, in the business perspectives one, when you do like a rotation that's very close to patients, hospitals, customers, it can be more challenging or sometimes not possible if you don't speak the local language. So if that's really something that you want to do, then we usually see that it is in an English-speaking country, for example, or that you go to the country where you do speak the language, because it just gives you a lot more opportunity to take over responsibilities and not just be a shadow, because that's not what we want. We really want you to be there and make an impact as well, right? So I don't know if any of you came across like some language barriers in one of your rotations, if you want to share. Or not so much.
I can share because I was I am still. I'm with the German side, so my stakeholders, some of them are in Penzberg and Rotkreuz, and some of the service team, they speak more German. And even though I am proficient, and to a certain extent, it can get a bit difficult with the accent or having the technical communication. But as a whole, I think Roche has English as the common language, so it's not so difficult either, at least in terms of my interactions with the stakeholders that I had so far.
And what I also learned from some others, it's some countries it's more common, or they have a bigger expat community, so English is more common there. Whereas if you go to other countries, yeah, it's maybe a little bit more challenging, but that's also part of the program, right? It's to challenge yourself. It's to go into countries where you don't speak the language, where you are not so close to the culture there. So that's also definitely a great opportunity. Perfect. Then I do have a question. Maybe Tanita, you can jump in and help me answer that one. So we do, for the application, require a CV and the business case. So can you talk a little bit more about the business case here, and also if you can submit a cover letter, for example?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So the instruction of the business case you actually will find in the job posting. And we are asking you here to really have to submit a few slides, and really just a few, and just want to test a little bit on your understanding of the healthcare environment and how the specific functional track that you're deciding for is supporting that, and what challenges are ahead. As well as a little bit about your very personal motivation. So it's not a huge exercise, but really to show a little bit your interest, your passion, and the way you're looking at the program for yourself. There is an upload function. You can submit a cover letter. It's not necessary. And the whole application process, once you click on apply, will basically guide you through any document that is required alongside the CV and the business case, which is really the core piece of the initial application. I hope that answers the question.
Right, thank you. And there was actually also a question around the assessment center. So as you could see in the whole recruiting process, at the end in May, there will be, for the final candidates, an assessment center. And I would actually like to invite our perspectives from what you remember, maybe Shreya, because for you it's been most recent. Like, how was your experience? And maybe you can share a little bit how it was for you. And yeah.
Well, the assessment center, as you know, the format is basically a entire day that you will be with the other participants as well. And for me, the experience was basically, it was mimicking a real life situation that I would be put in my job role. So basically, how I would basically react to certain situations, and also how I would take on the task that is assigned to me. So I saw it as a real day in the life of a procurement perspective, basically. That has been my experience. Of course, it can get a bit nerve-wracking because it's a whole day and you don't know what's going to happen. But I guess being true to yourself, being authentic, just helps how you react in everyday life. If you are the same, that you bring yourself the same to the assessment center, that's really helpful.
Well, thank you. Rodrigo, how was it for you? I mean, it's some time ago, but I guess you still remember very much so.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It was a pretty intense step of the process, but I have to say, in the intent of mimicking a real life experience, I feel like I've been through many other assessment centers in my 2 years at Roche, like really cracking a problem in a group setup with people from different points of view, different cultures. And yeah, it's a really kind of practice of what it looks like to work here. And I guess what it worked out well for me is to really give my full self, really get the headspace around having my full attention to it, and really bring the energy to it, so you can kind of stand out, right? And ultimately, we are a company that in my point of view, valorize a lot collaboration and teamwork. And it's not just the corporate words, but actually how you work as part of a team and how you bring the best outcome for the enterprise. And I think that having that in mind, I think ultimately helped me having a success outcome at the end.
Well, thank you so much. That's very well said. I think, Tanita, you want to add something, right?
Yeah, just to jump on what Rodrigo just said with like bring your full self and your true self, I think that's probably the best advice we can give you. And essentially because we really look for people who fit into our culture, our teams, who can be part of the Roche identity. And it's a full day assessment center if you make it to that stage. And I think it's almost impossible, very hard to play someone else. So really, yeah, come with what you bring and show up the way you are.
Thank you. Now let's come back to maybe a few questions around kind of the end of the program then. And that's around, so there's a question at the end of the program, for example, can you return to your Roche affiliate in your home country? Or also a question around how much influence do you have around the country that you will end up in after the program? And maybe I can take that, but please all the others jump in at any time. So it is open. So like we mentioned in the very beginning, it is we are asking for global mobility that is highly advantageous if you are not limiting yourself to one country. Also because what we consider this program for is really a pipeline to our most critical senior leadership roles in the organization. And maybe you've already seen also on our website, a lot of the alumni have very, very senior and highly important roles in our organization. And that also requires that you either maybe move to another country or be in the headquarters or be in the US. So it really depends on the path that you're taking and also the goal that you're having. But it does require some mobility as well. And in the end, at the same time, it is also up to you. We don't force you to apply to specific roles in specific countries, but it needs to make sense also for your path and your interest. And in the end, it is also roles that are posted for other interested candidates, both within Roche and externally as well. So you're basically in the talent pool there as well after the program. Okay, then we have a question around, that's an interesting one. Are there any assessments during the program? So there's not, in that sense, like an assessment center like you would go through for the application, but what we do is after every rotation, there's kind of a reflection together with the mentors, with the rotation managers and so on to really see like what did people learn and what do they want to do next. I don't know, maybe if one of you wants to share a little bit around that, Aruna or Rodrigo, how's your experience for those reflection sessions?
Let's just say time flies by every rotation. So by the end of the rotation, you're already in awe with how quickly time has gone and also what you've managed to do. So it's really important to take a step back and really reflect on how you showed up, but also what impact you were able to make with your team, with your rotational managers. The reflection questions we would discuss would be a combination of your leadership competency, so how you show up part, but also really looking at the outputs you managed to produce with your team, and then seeing how that then trickles into impact then and there, but also later. And you stay in touch with your rotational managers, with your network, and you can see that impact lasting even after your assignment. So those were probably those moments that I probably cherished the most, where I was invited, where I'd be in a reflection session with my mentor, who would kind of see me go through my whole journey, together with my rotational managers, who, like Rodrigo say, become your mentor after the assignment as well, and your business perspectives coordinator, taking a moment to just reflect on what you could have done differently that you then take for your next program, but also really taking a moment to appreciate what you managed to do in that short period of time.
So much. And I think this whole reflection and feedback component is such an important one for the program, because you just have 6 months and you really want to accelerate your learning and your development. So yeah, that's always a good checkpoint. Cool. I know we just have a few more minutes, but I want to go through a couple more questions. One of them specifically was around DE&I hires, and I want to focus on that one as well, because that is very important. As you can see, we do have a diverse representation today, and that's also something that is very important for us in the program and at Roche in general. So we really look into DE&I. We want to reflect that our whole employee community represents society. So that is a very important one. And as you can see throughout the different perspectives programs, we very much pay attention to having diversity, because that's also what is really important for us in the company. So just wanted to call that out as well. And then there's a question, because I think we do have some colleagues from Roche and some people who are currently not at Roche yet. And there is a question around, is it an advantage or disadvantage if you are already at Roche? And I also want to address that, because I do get that question also a lot from colleagues who approach me directly. So we, in all transparency, usually the majority of perspectives comes from externally, and we do encourage people who are currently at Roche to explore if there are any other development paths that you can take. That might be through trainings, through rotations as well, through other type of programs, mentorship, and so on. However, we do not want to discourage you, right? Like we did have in the past people who have been at Roche and who did the program. However, also again, like really consider, are there any other ways that you can actually develop and achieve the goals, the development goals that you have, maybe without being part of the program as well. So just wanted to call that out. I don't know if there's any additional comments on that. But then I do have an interesting question as well, again, for our perspectives. Some of you have transitioned into roles quite different from their original studies or careers. How did you navigate this shift and also gain acceptance and prove your capabilities? Maybe Aruna, I think that might be a special one for you, but yeah.
I think I'm also surprised, right, with how your journey evolves. You bring expertise, but it's how you leverage your expertise, regardless of the discipline that you're familiar with or your academic background, let's say, leans towards. It almost it's more a reflection of what you managed to do in that short period of time, and how your line manager, your colleagues see you, and when we are such a networked organization, how you then demonstrate what you can do to others as well. So it was more from how I showed up in my assignments, in my rotations, that then triggered the opportunities that were kind of presented to me as well, which was surprising at points, because you're a bit you have this assumption that you can only go certain directions. But when you can deliver, and when you show up in the right way, both as a leader as well as with the competencies that you do provide, you are open to. There is a lot of openness to take your talent and put it in a context that is so different to your original background. So maximize your rotations and keep being authentic to how you can do more with less, and work with a very unknown environment in a short period of time. And then that reputation then takes you forward.
Thank you so much. I think that also shows how much Roche values having different career paths and exploring different opportunities. So thanks a lot. I know we're almost out with time, but I do have maybe a final question, and Tanita, if I can ask you on that one. And I think that's something that a lot of people on this call are curious about, on how they can also differentiate themselves and what is important. So what's the most important qualities that we're looking for?
All right, that's a tough one. It's not easy to answer, but I can maybe highlight a couple of things. So As you know, we are looking for future leaders in the respective areas of business, finance, and procurement. So we are looking for people who are really curious to go that path, to step outside of their comfort zone. And that comes also back to this whole global mobility piece, because that's just where you really can accelerate your learning curve and get really prepared for future jobs and making a career also after the program. I would say, besides something I highlighted earlier with like really show your true self, we're looking for people who are humble enough, but also can bring people along, take a certain step into a leadership role. I would say curiosity is something that is super important during the program, not just simply in the recruitment process, but that's just something you really need to be able to insert yourself very quickly into the rotations that you're going into. And apart from that, just bring your experience, make your passion clear, and yeah, I think that's mostly what I can give you along the way.
Right. Thank you so much. I think that's been a perfect final question. And for those of you who submitted questions that we couldn't address, first of all, very sorry. Unfortunately, within this short hour, it's not possible to address all the questions. There is a second opportunity actually later this afternoon, afternoon in the European time zone. We do have another session, so in case you would like to join. And yeah, just maybe to super briefly recap on the recruiting process. So the postings are open. You can apply now until March 3rd. The video assessments will happen in March. Then there would be panel interviews in April if you get to that stage. And then the final assessment center would happen in May. And right afterwards, so within a week, we will inform you of whether you are chosen for the program or not. That was actually also a question. And then the official start date is in September. So everyone's starting at the same time because we bring people together for a welcome week. And so from all the different programs, they can get to know each other. You have the link here to our website where you can apply. We very much look forward to your applications. Very curious to find our next cohort. And I would like to say a big, big thank you to our 3 perspectives / alumni. So Shreya, Aruna, Rodrigo, thank you so much for joining this today. Thank you, Tanita, for co-hosting and being a co-program lead for this. And yeah, we wish you a super nice day and good luck with your applications. Bye.